Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Tuesday night chat. Um, got a full crew. We got Rosie back. Good to see you back, Rosie. And I got Daniel and Blue here. There's one or two other invites sent out there, but we'll see what happens. It doesn't matter. We got a full panel, and I'm going to start with Blue. Colonel Blue, would you like to do an intro?
As soon as I find the mute button. Thanks for the invite. Again, kind of like on Sunday, I'm still battling this cold, so I don't know how long I'm going to hang out or if I'm even going to say much anything, but thanks for the invite. Good to see you, Rosie, Daniel, and TR, so let's get this thing rocking.
Sounds good. Daniel, would you like to do an intro?
Well, Colonel and Colonel TR, thank you for having me on, Blue, and Private Rosie. And I don't know, I'm sub-private. I just here tonight to discuss all this idiocy that's going on in the world.
Appreciate you coming on, Daniel. Always a pleasure. In case you didn't know, Rosie, Blue's a Kentucky Colonel as well now. So anyway, gotta keep pushing that. Just let them, yeah. I'm happy for them. Anyway, Rosie, would you like to do an intro, and then you could go ahead and just roll on with anything that's on your mind? I know you've had a whirlwind tour, and you just go right ahead.
Yeah, let's get some little bit of housekeeping out of the way first. You go away for a month, and hell, everybody's an honorary Kentucky colonel now. When you come back, congratulations, boys. You know, we can go up to the colonel and get a 10-piece bucket tonight to celebrate, huh? Y'all Kentucky colonels. I think that's awesome. You know, guys, I was away on a 7,636-mile journey over 17 days all across America and down south and back across the west. It was epic, and I have to tell you, it's a great country out there, America. It really is tremendous, tremendous country. And one of the highlights of the trip, and Jen's particular highlight of the trip was, well, for me and her, it was certainly meeting TR and his beautiful girlfriend Sonia down there and breaking bread with them, and Debbie Lynn and the gang down there. I had a great time. But to actually hold that 1873 Winchester and just dream of the day I might be back there again and fire that was a really incredible experience to see that. And then TR will tell you, you know, I had my moonshine I brought down for that was we had a little go of that too. But what a wonderful guy, a wonderful gal, and a wonderful time down there. So TR, thank you for taking the time to drive over there and meet us. We just think you and Sonia are the greatest. So thank you. So if you haven't checked it out, it's probably 50 or so videos over 20 days. I think you'll enjoy it. We did a lot of live streaming on the Rosie Murphy channel, going over the Eisenhower tunnels over the top of the Rocky Mountains at 11,500 feet. I think we're the first people that ever live streamed that, and we have dozens of live streams of different cities. We went through Indianapolis, Kansas City, Baltimore, so many places. You might really enjoy that, going into Greenville, and check them out. Well, not much has really changed. You know, guys, back a couple months ago, we had that terrific drop in the market from about 27, just under 27,000 to about 23,600. And it was something that I had been concerned about for a while. The overheated state of the markets, and particularly the parabolic nature of the rise that occurred in the markets. And being away for a month gave me a lot of time to kind of reflect and pull my head back a little bit and do a little thinking about the state of things today. And what's going on with Facebook and the busting out of the 50 million plus people whose data was mined for political, to extract political trends or whatever, the incidents with that, but also everything that's been going on in terms of trade, and particularly the contemplation of tariffs on China. And it's kind of interesting that since that time of the announcement and discussions of that and the passage of the tax act, the tax reform bill, the markets have been shaky. But you can't just look at surface things. It was enough for me to just stand aside and pull my chips off the table. I was glad that I did. Hopefully some other people did too. I'm not saying, you know, as I said the last time I was on here, this thing could break two ways. And it's a really tough call. This thing could go jetting off to new frontiers, or it could fail to achieve its old-time highs, in which case we'll really turn down with a vengeance here. One of the things that's going on now is that interest rates on the short end are rising. What they call the U.S. short-term rate on the London interbank overnight market there, the LIBOR rate, has been creeping up. It's now the highest since 2008. 10 years it's been since it's been that high. Anything that has rising interest rates puts pressure on investment markets because it starts to pull the fuel out of the fire and put it into different places. In other words, people would be glad with rising interest rates to finally get some type of return that was risk-free as opposed to being exposed to the risks of the stock market. So anytime rates are rising, people are going to be happy to pull some money out of a risky environment, stocks, and put it into other investments that become more attractive. So the stock market is starting to contain the seeds of its own ultimate demise there because there's other alternatives going on. I think it's interesting too. I'll mention General Electric has come down to from like $80 a share in 2005. I think it's like $14 a share. I mean, this is real hard rock American industry right here, and that's one of the last of the original Dow Jones Industrial Average component. And to see that falling on hard times has been kind of difficult to come to grips with, because what does it say about our country? There's a lot of overpriced things that are now coming to terms with reality. You all have heard me talk about Tesla. I've been short Tesla since about $341 a share. That's starting to come apart now, Tesla, because this market, this investment climate has had a lot of flim-flam, a lot of BS built up within it. And I think the whole structure is looking a little shakier as every week goes by. Tomorrow's Fed decision day, and it's quite possible they'll raise rates again on the short side, not because they particularly want to, but the rest of the world is now pushing up rates. So really, you think that the Fed sets the rates. Actually, the Fed follows with their rate setting. So whether they like to or not, they'll probably push that interest rate up tomorrow, just in recognition of what's going on in world markets. I don't know if you remember, TR, the last time was when we talked about how the budget deficit is going to double in the next few years to over $1 trillion. That, my friends, is a lot of meat to put on the barbecue every year to have to be funded. And if you have a recovering economy like we're having now, the scramble for money becomes more intense here. And the government has to work harder to roll over that debt. And they, unfortunately for us, they don't give a damn what interest rate they have to pay, because at the end of the day, they can crowd everybody else out because they just print the money. They just make the bookkeeping entries to secure that debt being sold. So when you have somebody that's that big a monster at the table, at the debt trough, what does it say about the rest of the people and their competition to try to raise money in the rest of the world? It's going to be very interesting to see, because I now think that we're reaching a point in this whole debt experience here where we're going to start to get the first real friction. It's like
well, you know, politics aside, Republican, conservative, libertarian, whatever, I don't care who you pull for or who you support. I know a lot of people, and, you know, and I've seen it, and I've probably been guilty of it myself too, you know, talking about the last president, if you didn't like them, how they doubled the debt or doubled the, you know, national debt or whatever. But that happens every president. It doesn't matter who's. I don't care if it's Bush, Clinton, Obama, and it's going to probably fucking double under Trump. I mean, it's a set damn thing that they have every year. They keep increasing the debt ceiling, and so it just keeps on. I mean,
Well,
we all know eventually that thing is going to have to fall.
Yeah, let's separate it. Let's separate it. Then we have the debt, which continues to roll like a snowball, and we're kind of lucky that the snow is powdery and it hasn't really stuck to the ball, so to speak, because interest rates have been very low. So it's been very easy to roll the ball forward and gather a tiny little bit of additional weight on it. But now that the weather's starting to warm up a little bit and the snow's starting to get a little sticky, meaning that let's look at the deficit side now, from going to about a $450 billion deficit per year to suddenly blowing out to $1 trillion again. That's not even talking about the snowball that's already rolling. Now you're putting another $500 billion on top of that per year. And I think that that's the thing that's kind of taken a little bit of the lubrication out of the cylinders here. And there's a little bit of heat and there's a little bit of friction is starting to build now, because there's a finite limit to how much credit can be absorbed in the world, apart from pigs like the Treasury and the Federal Reserve that are going to elbow their way to the trough. But I'm just saying, we could be reaching that point with the London interbank overnight rate for U.S. short-term paper going up. That it's going to be very hard, I think, to reverse that now. And who knows where that tops out? Do we just say, well, it'll stop now because we recognize it, or is it starting a trend now that's going to reverse the last 35 years of declining interest rates? So I'm just saying we have to be very careful of the shift here. And people want to say stay nimble, and people want to say stay liquid and stay short term so they can ride these kind of things, and moves up. Now, Kalishnikov says, wait till China calls in those debts and wants the interest on those bonds. Well, China buys non-callable assets. I mean, the United States does not sell callable bonds. Okay, this is a fallacy that a lot of people in the world have. I mean, in theory, you're correct about that, but everything matures on a schedule. So you can't just call up the feds and say, hey, I want to get all my money back. The Fed's going to turn around and say, well, sell it in the open market then and see what you get for it. If you're not willing to wait till maturity, then you're going to have to take your risks in the market. So, Chris says China pisses me off. Well, there's a lot of aspects to that. In a lot of ways, they've allowed us to hold off facing the reality of what we've done in building this debt monster in this country. On the other hand, they have to start playing fair by the rules of trade, which is the other concern, because who knows, like the 1930s, once you start a trade war, who knows how far it escalates. So this is the other reality that I think the markets are starting to come to grips with, and it's a kind of uncomfortable time right now, and I think it's showing in the markets. You'll have 400 points down one day, up 180 the next. It's all this volatility as people are trying to figure out which way this thing is going to break, up or down. So it's really something to see. But I'm very worried about the level of debt that we're trying to roll now. I think it's reaching an extreme point, and I don't know if the economy is going to be able to sustain that without rapid and radical interest rate rises. That's about all I got.
Well, it's interesting watching it. I know on this chat we've paid attention to it a lot. Stocks, debt ceiling. I'm kind of at the point now. I know what can happen, and it's just like, just fucking ride it out and see what happens. I mean, because none of us have any control over what's going to happen, other than watching your own money and being careful with it, and and everything that you can control, do the best you can. But far as the overall picture, hell, we're just along for a ride.
Well, we can carve out our own little. We have to place our own bets on the table of life, and like you say, this is why we prep ultimately, so we're not caught with our pants down when the stuff hits the fan and wondering how we're going to survive if and when, God forbid, something happens that it takes the whole game upside down. I'll put my money on TR and Rick and Blue and a little to some extent myself, but I'm saying this is why we prepare. Sometimes when things look the best, they're the worst, and when they look the worst, they're really the best shaping up. But we just don't know it. I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, but prepping can never get you into trouble, and that's a good rule of thumb.
Yep.
59, nice to see you.
Yep, just prepare the best you can. That's all we can do.
Rising interest rates, if you have to look at a culprit, that's where I want to put my money on that bet line right there now. Say that's the biggest risk that we have. Anyway, Rick, nice to see you. Missed you the last month. Hope you're doing okay.
Thanks, Rosie. Hey, everybody. Yeah, it's been good. Kind of, I had a little chat going beforehand, doing a little poker, having fun. But it's been good. I noticed you made it and saw TR. You couldn't drive up the street 5 minutes, but
that's what I said. I thought about it when we were leaving. I said after we were done that evening, I said, doesn't Rick live close here? And I speculated you may be in California. I don't know, but I will be coming through again. It's not going to be that long, so I'm hoping we can go shooting or something like that. I really want to get my hands on that 73 again and give that long arm a go. But you bet we'll meet up, Rick. We'll do some shooting. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, it was a quick visit, Rick. It was just a matter of like shooting. I had to go to, I don't know, you probably don't know, around the Fountain Inn area, and it was just dinner and then went home. That was it.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
I think I was in California, matter of fact.
Yeah, so we'll be down there. I would hope to hit Farmageddon, Rick. And I heard Pop might just be having a fall classic this year, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. So
I would just fly in and then just get a car and get a hotel.
Blow some shit up.
Yeah, blow some shit up. Watch Blues throw some shit into the fire.
Yeah, SoCal, that's what he done. He flew in.
Yeah, I would fly in. Yeah. Going to be a while before I drive 7,636 miles again in 17 days. So
done that. Yeah,
that would be hard. It would be hard to imagine that Rob wouldn't welcome you to the farm. I'm sure.
Rob's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody would be happy as hell to see you there. Cheers, everybody.
Plus, I bring my own shine. Pre-shipped down. You boys be real happy.
Yeah, the
I
shine.
even give you my spot.
Yeah, didn't you see we shared the shine with TR? We cracked open. I brought a couple.
Brought some contraband across the state lines.
And we even got stopped by the DEA crossing the border from Missouri to Illinois. They pulled us over and searched the vehicle, searched our luggage, everything.
When you bring moonshine to Carolinas, it's like bringing sand to the
beach. I said the title of my video to Newcastle, but still, I'll put my shine against the
there
local.
You go.
Yeah, I mean it's it'll put a little bit of it'll put a curl in your smile down there.
That's right.
Yes, she ain't cut it none. That shit was woo. It tasted. It had a really good flavor to it, though. I mean, it was a
barrel
refined.
How do you think Rosie drove halfway across, or the full way across the United States? She filled the tank up with that shit. What are you talking about?
Went into light speed.
I'll tell you though, the real treat was coming back down south from coming across from Tallahassee to New Orleans to Baton Rouge, stopping in the Jimmy Swaggart Christian Family Worship Center, and then heading to San Antonio, El Paso, Yuma. I mean, that was really a highlight there.
So what was your favorite state you went through?
I think Louisiana, because it's such a confusion of interest. Of they're still living in the Civil War. There's still a lot of dislike. Great food, cool
No,
people.
but like the state being the prettiest.
Prettiest state, probably Colorado. I would have to say was the, through the Rockies. How are you going to beat the Rockies? Now, the state that surprised me the most up country was South Carolina with the beauty up that way. Because I've been in all over low country South Carolina, but I never thought it was that lush and green up in towards Greenville and those Simpsonville and those areas was beautiful around there. And there's a lot of road construction, of course, going on. It's crazy highway rebuilding, but that was beautiful. But I think for interest, though, the state I want to go back to is Louisiana because of its corrupt history and all the various influences there in the food. Texas was cool. Texas was cool too. San Antonio, being at the Alamo, and El Paso, that was all good.
I just miss the mountains when I go through Texas. It seems like it takes like 6 days to drive through Texas, and there's not one mountain. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty, but I miss the mountains when I'm there.
Yeah, you go up to, you finally get up towards going to El Paso. You get some pretty, you get the hill country coming out of San Antonio. But we broke it into 2 parts. Baton Rouge to San Antonio, and then looked around there and the Alamo and Riverwalk, and then the second leg was San Antonio to El Paso, which broke Texas into 2 days, which was okay, and then on to Yuma, Arizona, down there. So I think 2 days is, I wouldn't, it's 838 miles from the Texas border to the Texas border. I mean, that's a hell of a haul.
Dan says we have big ass mountain. See how there's no S in the back of that mountain?
Yeah, I loved upcountry South Carolina. I think it's beautiful. The people were wonderful.
Yeah. But I get to fly over all of them, and there's definitely some pretty ones.
Yeah.
You can tell when you're in Texas, though, in the air, you got the circle crops.
Yeah.
You see a bunch of circles.
Well, I live in a very Mexican area of California here, and to see a different variety, the Tex-Mex mix, the people were so beautiful down in the San Antonio area. They were a much lighter skin, sort of Latin, like a white mix, and it was fascinating how pretty the girls were and how they almost looked like they were made of porcelain. Some of the people, it was amazing. I'm used to the real rough-hewn sort of Cali Mexicans and stuff around here. So it was a real, they were such proud Texans. You could tell with the Alamo and stuff. I mean, it's kind of cool to observe social things when you see people together. And but it's a great trip. I'd recommend not the pace we went, but to see America. It's a great way to go.
So, Rosie, on your channel where you're building all the suppressors and bombs and reloading and all that machine gun stuff, you're going to have to shut that shit down.
I know. I heard we were going to talk. We're saving that for later because I saw your chat and I was a little concerned. It just seemed like they'd drawn the line now and said, hey, that's it. And I thought, I hope this isn't one of these gray areas that's open to interpretation, because TR was saying, well, it may very well be. So he said, let's hold that for later.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. I was too late.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the actual policy. Coda Boy did a video on it, and I just watched it right before the chat. If you read the policy, it's mainly it actually says it has to do with making guns full auto, or even showing full auto guns. So your buddy probably needs to quit doing any full auto video. But it mainly talks about making the gun full auto. It doesn't say, mounting a scope, a stock, or whatever, which I've seen on like the Daily Shooter. He's had strikes over just mounting a stock to an AR-15. But if the way the rules read, it has to do with, bump stocks, auto sears, making an AR full auto, or making any gun full auto. That's actually what it says. But it also, they throw their little stipulation that they could interpret, they can make it whatever they want.
You
But the way it reads,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, now pulling that handle right there is considered a strike.
A strike or
well,
a
not according to the rules, it's not.
not well.
You're not,
I mean,
you're not allowed to.
I
They
could see
call it
not suitable,
manufacture.
not suitable for all advertisers, but that would get you a strike.
Well, no. Now, see, that's the other thing. So you got to read the rules. If they follow their own rules, you can't directly say you're doing reloading. You could do that.
Oh,
But if you're doing it and you're trying to sell the product, sell the ammunition, that's where they draw the line. Just like advertising some gun accessory. If you're manufacturing it or if you're trying to direct sell it to the public, that's where they draw the line. It didn't say you couldn't show it. It just said you couldn't try to sell the product.
It was said you couldn't manufacture it either.
yeah, I see.
You
Greg,
can't manufacture it and sell it. You
So-
can't manufacture it and sell it.
So in my video that I'm going to make tomorrow, where I'm reloading and talking about God, and I want to show a hack on if you don't have any lube for your bullets, to just use bacon grease. That'll be okay.
According to the rules, unless you're trying to sell a product directly or you're trying to make a gun full auto, it shouldn't apply to you. Now, they still may pull your monetization, but you shouldn't get a strike over it. That's the way the rules read.
Oh, it's like TR said at the end, they put the disclaimer, YouTube reserves the right and final judgment in all cases, blah, blah, blah. You know, they can pretty much do what the hell they want. It's all subject to the reviewer that's sitting there when the flag drops. I just can't believe showing a reload would get you.
Yeah, that's the problem, is it's up to the reviewer, which is
bullshit.
Anti-gun.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like
Like
politics. It's just like everybody freaking out over Trump and guns and stuff. We're going to have to wait and see. That's just all there is to it. Like, I got a extended magazine tube for my Remington 870. Should be in probably tomorrow or the next day. I'll have to be careful how I word it because I'm not going to try to sell the product. I'm just going to say, hey, I got this. And show that it holds so many rounds, and I'm going to shoot it maybe this weekend. But I'll have to be careful. I don't want to try to directly sell a product because they didn't give it to me or whatever. So there is some kind of, all right, you know, like KCI sent me magazines. Okay, maybe you can't do those kind of videos because you're directly advertising for them. I don't know if that's, I'll have to read the rules again, but it had to do with directly selling a product and also full auto conversions. And I don't know who the fuck's doing full auto conversion AR-15s on YouTube. If they are, they're a fucking idiot because they committed a federal crime.
Just like the asshole that would do moonshining on the video.
Well, in some states, it's okay to do that.
You got to be crazy. Some of the shit.
Not the one she's in. You can't do anything fun in
No state's legal to distill unless you have a fuel or a alcohol permit. So
yeah, I looked into that. There's some.
You can do 200 gallons of beer and wine a year with no regulation, but the second you put the heat to distill, you're breaking federal law. That's it.
Yeah, that's anyway.
But that's neither here nor there. But I'm just saying, Rick just blew me away with the news. You know, you touch the lever on the reload, and that's it. I mean, that's
well. But like I said, unless you're selling the ammo, according to their regulations, their rules, the ones they just come out with, you can reload ammo. You just can't promote selling the ammo, which none of us are selling our fucking ammo. So
yeah, but see, we can talk about this right here, supposedly, but you can't talk about this right here.
Oh man.
Yeah. Anything over a 30-round mag.
So, ooh, this one's really scary compared to this one. Oh shit!
Now it's shooting up. Dan says if you smoke on YouTube, you're supposed to put age warning on the video now. Jesus, I'm glad I quit smoking.
Yeah. I'm going to claim artist rights, whatever it is, like we're
Artistic expression.
Stage, artist, whatever.
Expression.
Do it on my regular videos.
Artistic expression.
There you go, artistic expression.
So in front of every video, we should just put, this video will probably ruin your life forever, so don't watch it.
Man, how ridiculous.
If anybody's ever watched my videos, you have to admit I'm pretty damn goofy, so I could just about pass for a comedian.
I'll tell you, I mean, I didn't expect to hear that from Rick today.
Whoa, shit.
Let's see, what else was we talking about? Well, that I don't know. Like I said, we just kind of had to wait and see. I know I checked my video manager right before the chat. I hadn't seen anything out of the ordinary so far. Well, we'll see. Hell, I may not have a channel tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think we have 30 days. Except for Blue, because he has a blue, already sent it back, but he had a blue handguard that was pretty badass.
So they told you have 30 days to come into compliance?
That's only what I've heard from the other people. I don't think my channel is even big enough to get an email.
I hadn't got an email.
Oh, you haven't
got an email from people.
Oh, okay.
I hadn't got, you know, have you seen this? Have you seen this? And then, like I said, I watched Coda Boys, and I read it myself too. And I'm like, well, I mean, for the most part, it really don't technically affect any of us that much, because it's talking about showing how to make a gun full auto or showing off a bump stock, anything that makes it somewhat full auto. And it's like, well, fuck, none of us do that. Selling ammunition, selling gun parts online, none of us do that. So technically, by their own rules, none of us are breaking the damn rules.
Like Rosie said, though, it's up to the person reviewing the thing.
Yep. And they might, if they have any kind of bias or anything, it's like they'll just strike it. Then you have to go through the appeal, and hopefully somebody will be a little more thorough with the rules at that point or whatever. So,
well, and if it's just copyright stuff, you know, like what they've already been doing here lately anyway, there's no freaking, well, for me, I mean, some other people might make decent money off YouTube, but for me, those pennies I make off YouTube is if all they do is unmonetize a video of mine, I couldn't tell the fucking difference anyway.
Well, I think it's a principle thing, though, right?
It is a principle, but it is their company. It's not our First Amendment right. Before everybody gets all their panties in a wad, YouTube has nothing to do with your damn First Amendment right.
Yeah.
You know, it's a corporation. They can do whatever the fuck they want. I prefer they let us use their platform. Oh, they want to know about. Okay.
Yeah, Susie, our shine is amber color because it's barrel aged. We put it into charred oak barrels. So that was some 2-year-old stuff that went down to South Carolina there. It
had a very nice flavor to it, and even Rosie told me that usually they put it on a little bit of ice and sip on it. And I would have to admit, because it's very strong, it's very potent, and if it diluted a little bit with some ice, it would be some really, really good sipping shine.
I mean,
drinking it straight was a little bit much.
Yeah, look at what it did to me after all these years.
Well, here's the thought I got about the whole YouTube thing. At one time, Bell, was called Mall Bell because that was the only phone company. Well, YouTube's becoming a monopoly, and this actually could be the new type of communication as far as phoning. I wonder if anything will ever happen to that, or if they'll even look at it to push it.
Well, they're all running scared. I mean, YouTube had a conference today for for media to try to figure out a way to keep fake news from being put up on the internet, and trying to unveil new things for journalists, new ways to vet stories, but think about the slippery slope that is. That somebody has to sit there and decide whether it's real or whether it qualifies as fake news or real news. I think these guys really got a tiger by the tail right now. Facebook's the same way. They're being mauled lately in the marketplace because the thought is the federal government's going to come down on them like a house of bricks because of privacy violations and all that. So they've really got a difficult situation now. And I think when difficult situations, advertisers tend to pull back a little bit and hold their money till things become clearer.
Well, they can't say anything about YouTube or Facebook until they take a look at ABC, CBS, and NBC.
Well, don't you feel like they've been their own demise, though, Daniel? I mean, who in the hell watches ABC, CBS, or NBC? I mean, I can't tell you. It's probably been years since I watched an evening newscast on networks. It's all, everybody's getting their stuff off the internet now, at least people I know.
The only thing I like watching and going back and looking at old reruns of when Trump won the election and the shock on their faces and all their crying.
TR remembers I was in my van that night when that news.
Oh, don't tell us any more on that.
Oh, yeah. That was I never, every once in a while somebody will repost one of those videos showing NBC, MSNBC, the Young Turks, and all of them just fucking freaking out when Trump won, and that shit never gets old.
TR and El Ray are laughing, they're cracking up, watching all that shit. It's like it was funny as hell.
I know we did the somewhat live chat that night, and
yeah,
we stopped before it was finally called. I know Pennsylvania, I don't think they had called it yet. I don't know. Did they, Blue? They hadn't called it yet. But,
it was like 11:15 at night here.
Yeah, it was late. We finally just, I think after about 3 hours, we was like, okay, fuck it, whatever.
Exactly.
It was late.
I stayed up though and watched that shit on TV.
Yeah, waiting for Hillary got tanked and all loaded, and she couldn't come on and give her. She was so pissed off, But I thought it was funny that TR. Remember, I said I didn't think Trump. You'd have to run the table perfectly to win that election, and damn if he didn't run the table on that. Just the states.
Well, I think Trump's biggest asset in that election was he was running against Hillary.
Yeah,
because even Democrats didn't like Hillary. I think that's why he won.
Hillary trashed her messing.
They're like, I mean, they may not have voted for Trump, but they wasn't going to vote for her either. So either they didn't vote at all, or they just voted independent or whatever. Or maybe he just left that blank and voted for their senators or whatever. But
I saw something today where Hillary was blaming all the white females for her not getting in.
Yeah, she just keeps insulting people.
Just piss everybody off.
Yeah, TR's like, I'm not voting for Trump. I'm voting against Hillary. Let's make that clear, okay?
She said white women can't think for themselves. They just had to either vote for what their husband told them to do, their son, their boss. In other words, a woman cannot make up her own mind. She had to listen to a man to tell her who to vote for. So she insulted every woman that fucking voted for Trump, period.
That's not only sexist, but that's racist.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she didn't call in a couple hits that night.
I don't imagine Hillary's well liked in Arkansas, so that doesn't surprise me, Linda Francine.
Atomic Bulls is right. It was rigged because the Russians rigged it for Trump to win, remember? Oh, I guess she apologized, and it was even worse.
They had to prop her up, didn't they?
Yeah, I seen her fall down the stairs in India like twice. Same stairway.
Was she drinking or what?
It probably was, but it still makes for good damn video.
I heard she's kind of a booze hound now.
I think her apology speech went something like this. For all you white women out there, I'm really sorry that your husbands beat you.
It was probably close to that.
Yeah, 2 people holding her up. That's right.
Careful, you'll end up on the list. Does anybody know about how C-Max is doing?
I have not heard.
Nor have I.
Hope he's okay.
I assume he's in Houston, but I don't know.
Kalashnikov Mania has a really good point. He says, imagine if Hillary kicks the bucket, how many come forward to tell all books against her? Could you imagine? There was a guy on Alex Jones that was her basically cleanup guy, and he said a lot of stuff. It was a long video, so
I'd be more interested in the tell-alls that will pour out from staff members that just bite their tongue until she's gone, and then but they got them all written. They're ready to go. And she, the day after she's rolling in the ground there, they'll have those books out to tell all that election night, the real story.
I bet you all of them loved her and would seriously cried when she didn't make president.
Yeah. I'd like to hear about her Arkansas days as the first lady down there in Arkansas.
It's basically every show of Jerry Springer, probably.
Yeah, Kalashnikov is going to be a Hillary free-for-all. That's right.
What kills me is how people don't see it, that are so blind. I know people accuse us of being, if you're on a little bit on the conservative side or way on the conservative side, they think that we don't look at everything. I think conservatives look at both sides better than liberals because you talk about having blinders on. They don't want to hear any facts whatsoever. I'm willing to look at both sides and call it out. Oh yeah, that's wrong. That's fucked up. They shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have said that. But damn liberals are just like tunnel vision.
I think it's party above all. There's a lot of them. Well, we'll be running up the midterms, so we'll be hearing all about that.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what happens. Hopefully everybody gets off their ass and goes votes. Don't vote every 4 years at the presidential election. Vote every freaking year. There's something going on every year in your district, I guarantee you. Even if it's for the freaking head of the garbage disposal or whatever. I don't care what it is. There's always a vote going on. Every November, you should be in the voting booth. I guarantee you there's an election going on.
I'm at the point almost where if they're not pro Second Amendment, I'm not voting for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and clear on it, not mamby-pamby about it. I mean, you've seen the momentum starting to pick up of gun control now. Florida's like all gun-ho with.
What a bunch of bullshit.
I'm just saying that could be the tide that begins to sweep. So, I mean, I don't know what the plan is there, but I've seen that as the first real wave that's shock waves are moving out from that. So
Florida voted Republican for the Trump, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, what do y'all think about these states like Florida? I don't think anything's going to happen on the federal level too much, but on the state level, we're seeing very restrictive gun laws being pushed or passed. They got away with the handguns that you got to be 21 to buy because they didn't touch rifles, long guns. Dang it. But now, like Florida, where you got to be 21 to buy any kind of gun. And I know the NRA has already filed suit suing them over that. Do y'all think that those will be struck down and held up? Because it is a direct violation of your Second Amendment.
I'll tell you some. I was watching Fuzz Fork 8. He's out here in the channel, and I don't know if he's an attorney, or a retired attorney, or I have no idea what he used to do, but he does a lot of research. And he found a case that was a shit long time ago. I can't remember what it's called. It was somebody versus somebody. I'm sure hopefully I'll put it in here. But if they were to use that case like they're supposed to, right? When you're in court, they reference cases that have happened prior to. And this court case, did you write it in there yet?
Called case law.
Yeah, case law. So if they were to use that case law, you would be amazed at what the information was within that Fuzz Fork showed. And I don't understand why they didn't use that. And, it talks about inalienable rights and so on and so forth. And he has a ton of great information in there. The guy's a whack job, but I love the guy anyways. No.
I'm sure they make it turn on states' rights at that point, though, Rick. Yes, you can have weapons, but should there be an element of control? Yes, and we'll exert that at the state level. So that's what I see is going on. We see California with the registration of ammunition, and it's only moving forward. I don't see it going backwards. So Florida is a really major jump now with this age change.
Well, with that that needs to be fast tracked to the Supreme Court, because you're saying anybody that's under 21 that is married, has kids, or even old enough to go into the military, but can't defend their own home, their own life, their own wife and child or husband.
And the way Combs had a good question, it was like in possession or owning or whatever. But the way I read it, they can't even possess a long arm. If you was, say right now in Florida, if you're 20 years old and you own a shotgun, if you don't turn it in, get rid of it, you're automatically a criminal. You can't even fucking possess it.
What a bunch of bullshit.
So you can't go hunting until you're 21.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. No special.
Your family.
Yeah, but what about the people that what's that thing where they think like they're like a tree or something? What do those people identify as or whatever that is? Why don't you just identify as a 21-year-old and then you're good?
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
No, I identify as a 21-year-old, so I can go ahead and buy this shit.
But I mean, seriously, the way I read it from what happened in Florida, they have to either turn them in or get rid of them. They cannot even possess a long arm. Long arm, period. Any gun, period.
Good luck with it. A lot of busy attorneys.
That's why I say I think they will be overturned. Now, they might not overturn the entire bill, but I think they'll overturn the age limit thing.
So you can have a short hand, but you can't have a long arm.
Yeah,
you have a short hand.
Florida law meaning any military under 21 cannot carry a weapon. See, military is sort of exempted from.
Yeah, the military, that would probably exempt them. But.
Yeah, with a valid military ID and active duty or something. I'm not sure, Joe. It's a good question, but you can see a lot of infringement.
Even in the military, you could be issued a handgun under 21.
If you fight it in California, then it goes up to the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals. They'll uphold it. But if it goes up in Atlanta, Georgia, they'll overturn it. So you have the same kind of unequal application, interpretation of the law. So it really has to be decided by a Supreme Court. And they're always pushing that shit away because they like them to fight it out on the superior and appellate court level. It's like they don't want to make it clear. They don't want to have clear rulings. You know how few gun cases they take at the Supreme Court? Ninth. I'm sorry, SoCal. Yeah, ninth. I always get confused. Eighth or ninth. Yeah.
I carry my revolver and things like they can possess one, they can't buy one, but that's not the way I read it. Because it was saying they have to actually turn them in.
Jeez.
You become a felon if you don't turn it in, from what I read. I could be wrong. That's the way I read it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, they're going to just keep doing whatever they can. I mean, California, it's the exact same thing. They're going to keep doing and keep going until everybody's a felon. Except the felons.
Well, you know, once we're all felons, what's going to stop us from doing anything?
Well, I'm just saying people get frustrated, and then you'll see the next level it amps up to with people just outright just doing what the hell they want to do. And
exactly. Once you're a felon, you're a felon.
Prepper mentality. That's right. The government's too screwed up to be a caretaker of people's rights anymore. So let's take it up a notch.
Well, these liberals think that if they pass laws like let's just say they think we're going to outlaw AR-15s because they're so fucking evil and they kill like, you know, 1 million people a year, which they don't, but you know, that's what they think. And but even if they passed a law where they couldn't sell them anymore, how many freaking AR-15s are out there? How many? And you can still buy a damn 80% lower and make your own AR-15. It's not like they're going to outright ban them. They're not going to take them off the street. There is not going to do a confiscation.
You know why? Because
the day they do a confiscation is the day we start our next revolution.
They would be afraid to have something like that because they would be faced with the fact that nobody turned in anything.
Exactly.
A paper tiger of a law. It did nothing. You know, it made people grab what they could.
You should always have a stack of 80%ers just in case.
Just in case. But if they ever try to see it, and see, that's the thing that, like I said, I mean, basically, if you listen and watch some of these little news things and YouTube videos and these little, you know, online little newscasts and stuff, and they interview people, they think that they're actually going to ban this gun and people are going to turn them in, or the police are going to go confiscate them.
Bullshit.
That's not going to happen. They're not going away. They're there for forever. They're not going away. But in their mind, they're thinking, well, we're going to ban them. The United States has never banned a gun from really ownership other than full auto stuff. I mean, even when they done away with what was it, HK something another little sub 9 back in the 80s, it still wasn't illegal to own it. You just couldn't buy another one. They just quit selling them, just like guns from China. It's not that it's illegal to own one. They just quit selling them, but they're still there.
That's why I think that they're working so hard on the ammunition side of it, because they feel like that's the thing that they can safely and legally get the toehold on and regulate.
Hey, Blue, what do you think the percentage of police officers in the United States would be willing to go door to door to take people's firearms?
What a death mission.
Big city versus where I'm at, it's hard to tell. Big city cops are a lot different than us. I mean, I think anybody would probably agree with that. Yeah, I know that we're not doing anything. If it were to ever come down, there's no way.
No, but you think 100% of your department would be all go pack sand?
Yeah, I know our department would be. But you get into the big city. I mean, it's a lot of those guys, and you know, it's not that I'm bashing what they're doing, but they're like fucking robots. They get told something, they do it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, till they go into the first ghetto shithole and about 3 of them get gunned down there, then it'd be all kinds of bullshit. I would never go on a mission like that. Absolutely ridiculous, door-to-door search and things. I mean, it's
No way. It would be bad.
I mean,
Well,
could you
hey,
imagine that? Could you imagine that when word gets down the block and all of a sudden a little gang forms outside on the street and shit, and next thing you know, you got a situation there.
well, your big cities are mostly liberal held,
Yeah,
and that's why your mayors and all that and hire certain types of people for the police force, and they get by
you
with
got tons of, but you got gun
So,
owners within
What
there.
about, so think of
Well,
martial law though. Say you have the reserves come in, the National Guards, and their orders are to go house door to door and take people's shit. How
well,
many of those guys, even though they've been trained and brainwashed, and I don't mean them all, obviously, but they've been pushing the agenda of that. What do you think the percentage of those guys are?
well, hold that thought. Now, I mean, getting back to the police out in the country where they tell you to pack sand, that's why we need to watch out for the government to federalize all law enforcement. When you see them do that, that is past the tipping point. Because if they take over those country and small town law enforcement offices and everything's coming out of your federal level, that's when we're in trouble. Now, the National Guard, when they come out, you all heard of Kent State, right?
Yep.
The shooting there.
Yeah.
That National Guard unit came from my county. I mean, they're from the people in the towns around me, the farm down below me, and those are conservative-minded people who were following orders, but they were fed information to get them all pumped up against the hippie kids on campus.
Sure, all that shit happened in Berkeley too, you know.
Yeah, so it's the leaders that are in the position. So that's what we got to watch out. Do you think they're
Well,
going to take?
bet against the National Guard, but I'll tell you what, I don't think they would do it with a lot of heart. The job, I'll tell you that, because it's just to go smack in the face of what it is to be an American in a lot of ways. So door-to-door searches and all that.
But they won't take the local National Guard. They'll take a National Guard that's completely out of the area.
Well, it's a National Guard is a National Guard to me. I don't know. I mean, you can pump them up, but being on the streets in the reality is a little bit of an eye opener. You know, it could be a whole different ball game. But I'll tell you, this stuff could really get out of control real fast here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and if that's the thing, if you feed them enough shit, meaning like misinformation, then they're thinking they're doing a good thing by following their assignment, whether they think it's constitutional or unconstitutional, it doesn't really matter. They have a task to perform, and they think they're doing it in a good manner due to the fact that the information was given. You know, obviously it could be all lies, but
well, didn't the government already start doing this? Not the same tactic, but doesn't Florida now have a red flag law? I could have sworn something come across my desk to where the first Florida resident lost his firearms due to a judge saying that he had the appearance of mental problems, this, that, and everything else, and he ended up losing. I think it's not a lot, but I mean, still, it's 3 guns and like 1,200 rounds or something. That was just like today or yesterday.
Was that you talking about it the other day?
Yeah, I didn't hear the details of how they determined he may be mentally unfit. It was a little shady from what I read, but at the same time, from what I read, there wasn't enough details to for me to make an opinion on it. I don't know what the whole scenario was.
From what I read, the guy sounds batshit crazy, but there again,
is it a good thing or a bad thing? You know, I mean, we want some intervention on some level with some people. So I don't know how I come down on that.
See, that's kind of where I was going with it, because a lot of you guys, in the chats and stuff, we're all, it's not a gun problem. It's not a manufacturer problem. It's a people problem. It's a mental health problem. And now it looks like Florida has this red flag law. So you know, who's, I guess, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. Like I said, this guy sounded batshit crazy, but there again, that's what I read. But who's actually making the determination on this one? It seemed like somebody in law enforcement petitioned the court, and the court agreed and said, yeah, this guy can't have any guns. I order you to remove all guns. I forget what the time period was. But the guns are going to be gone for this time period. And then that person can petition the court to get them back. Or if the police department doesn't petition the court for an extension, then it automatically expires. And I don't, let's just say 6 months. I don't know.
Kodo Boy did a video on that one. And from what Kodo Boy's research said, the guy was bat crazy. His neighbor was a reptilian shapeshifter that was electrifying him through the floor. The police came in because he turned the power off in the whole apartment unit. And while the police were there, they seen the guns, they seen how the guy was talking, and they petitioned the court. So it went through the legal system. They had a reasonable cause how I took it.
Sounds like a reasonable happening.
Exactly.
That part sounds reasonable, but my thing is, I'm not a mental health care professional. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. You know, I can make an opinion-based judgment, which most of the time is going to be correct. But at what point does, let's say for whatever reason, I have a major issue with Rick. He's my neighbor. I don't like him. So I start telling people, you know, he's out dancing around naked in the moonlight. He's doing this. He's doing that.
Whoa. Do you have cameras in my house?
I do. I do.
I knew it. I told you guys.
I was taking a video.
I don't have an issue with this red flag law. I just think that there needs to be a lot more checks and balances put in place. I mean, like everybody's talking, this last one, dude, definitely batshit crazy, but I
agree. It can't be based on some pissed off neighbor. You know, like if I go outside this weekend and blast off 300 rounds, some neighbor gets pissed off that I'm making a bunch of noise, shouldn't be able to say, hey, that guy's batshit crazy, blah, blah, blah. And the police just rush in and take all my shit, you know, because of what a neighbor said. So, yeah, there should be some checks and balances. But at the same time, if there is enough evidence, and there again, you know, you're going to have to rely on people to make good decisions, which is always a problem. So they should be checks and balances. One person shouldn't be able to make a damn decision. It should be.
The thing I wanted to ask Blue was, because Blue is closest to probably what it takes to get a judge to move on something generally in life. But I would like to think that there would have to be some pretty good evidentiary stuff before, not just somebody coming and claiming something, but maybe multiple people unconnected by family coming forward and you know, signing an affidavit or something like that. I mean, how hard is it to get the due process has to be maintained. Exactly. I don't see judges just willy-nilly saying, okay, glad you stopped in the courthouse today, we'll get right on that. And I see some contemplation to that process unless there's some urgency, and that's when the cops should be called, not going to seek a judge's order. So that shows me that they put some thought into that, as opposed to just randomly calling to take this guy's guns. And
yeah, but I want to play devil's advocate for a minute. So the kid in Florida, right, that shot had a bunch of times, you know, the cops checked on him, all that shit, and they didn't do enough, right? Well, now I think the scale is tilted so much the other way that you're gonna have cops doing stuff, basically trying to not make one of those again, right? So they're gonna overreact to stuff that's minimal.
That's what I mean.
To protect their area or their town from the next jackass.
Well,
so
I had a comment
because everybody said, why didn't the cops do this and why didn't the cops do that and why didn't the FBI? And I was saying the same shit too.
We all were.
But I'm just saying, like, now Now it's really screwed up. So one guy calls on TR because he's shooting. Instead of it just being all, hey, hey, Raj, what's up? Oh, I'm just doing some target practice. It's going to be fucking SWAT teams. I'm exaggerating, but I feel like it's going to fall the other way now.
Well, I think it probably will, because who wants that fallout on a bureaucratic level? I mean, imagine that blue, it would all come down on you guys. But, if something happened there in Pennsylvania or whatever, and something horrific happened, man, there'd be like zero. You guys would be jumping at the first probable, worried about copycats, and just every little thing you guys would probably be jumping on a law enforcement level. I mean, these politicians feel a lot of heat on this stuff, and they rolls down
that part. It's already happened. I mean, in our small county here, I would say within, let's just say, a 3-week period, I can't tell you how many kids have been charged with making terroristic threats because they're, making bomb threats. They're saying that they have hit lists. They're saying that they're, going to shoot the school up. And I mean, it is, they could just be saying it because they had a bad day or somebody said something mean about them and they're like, I'm going to kill that person or something like that. But there is zero tolerance from schools, from police, and from the DA's office, which I understand. It's just, I mean, it went from, oh, little Jimmy's just, venting, he's okay. And, we'll make sure that he gets into some type of counseling program to where, charges are being filed on absolutely everything that comes through.
Well, it's like a lot of things. There's always a knee-jerk reaction. Mm-hmm. I mean, you see some things, they talk about it, and it's like, okay, the system failed. And it's not about, the problem is it's not about fixing the system. They want to add more laws or add more rules and add more. It's like, no, there's already a system there. It just, people drop the damn ball. I see it at work where I'm at. Not shootings, but let's just say some bad product got out. Okay, somebody didn't do their job. They wasn't looking at the parts, and it's like, oh, this part's fucked up. We need to stop production, fix this problem. Take these parts, put them to the side, and let's start over. That's what should happen. That's what the rules are. That's what's in place. But what happens is a part gets out. The damn corporation I work for, they do a knee-jerk reaction. They come up with a whole nother list of fucking rules and regulations to add more shit to the problem instead of just addressing that person didn't look at the fucking part.
Yeah, that person, right. So we have all this follow-on effect now of that person's failure. Exactly.
And I see it. It's the same thing. It's like, I'm not saying everything that happened maybe could have prevented that shooting at the school, but it should at least raise some eyebrows. And it's like it didn't even raise an eyebrow. They're like, oh, just don't say nothing. It's okay. It'll go away. I mean, that's what we see as citizens, and it's like, what the fuck, I mean, the kid was fucking batshit crazy. Nobody saw that. Well, evidently a bunch of people saw it, and nothing happened. You don't need new laws. You just needed to enforce what was already there. Just like every other gun law in the books already. Just enforce the laws that's in the books.
TR, did you see Fuzz's comment? Will they go after TR and say he was trying to commit suicide when he shot himself?
It probably looked that way.
Great. That's the comment of the night right there. That's funny as hell. You better watch it, TR. They're going to be dropping a dime on you down there.
Why'd you shoot TR? He said he was going to kill himself.
Now let's say you say you were shooting at that, but you got it here. Now explain that to me, son.
And the bad thing is, in that video, before I shot myself, I did say I'm probably way too close. The next thing I know, bam.
Reminded me why there's no metal targets allowed on our range.
Here's your sign.
Well, just don't shoot at a steel target at less than 20 foot with a high-powered rifle. It may not end up good for you.
You're talking about steel targets. Gil is not selling hard targets anymore.
I
You're
seen
not
that.
going to hear much about the Maryland shooting because that cop did do his job. He did it beautifully. That's exactly what he's there for.
Yep, that's why no one's talking about it.
Not going to have a big media blow up. It's going to be pretty damn fun.
Good job on doing your job.
Yeah.
All right, I want to backpedal a little bit. This Florida thing where they confiscated the guy's guns. Were any of us there?
Nope.
Any of us know him?
Nope.
Do any of you trust the media today?
Hell no.
No.
Where are we getting our information from?
Facebook.
I'm connecting the dots to just a judge issuing an order. So
Well,
to me, Daniel, it's somebody going above just reporting, calling up Blue at the station saying, hey, this guy's a nut job down here. These are people that took the time to put something together to put before a judge. That impresses me. I mean, that's a rare thing, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the
what
fact.
the media
As
tells
far as
us.
getting news, I don't trust a hell of a lot these days.
We don't know that's a fact. That's what the media is telling us. And why do I not trust the media? Because in July 2nd, 2013, the United States Supreme Court rescinded the ban on propaganda being used on people in the United States. That's not a conspiracy theory. You can Google it up and look at it.
I'm sure it's true.
And it's been in place since 2013. And that's where they're brainwashing everybody with this media that we don't trust. We can turn around. We can make Blue look like a psychopath. Rick does it on his own. TR does it on his own. Me, I'm a self-confessed psychopath.
My point is, what media? Everything's so splintered now compared to 30 years ago. I mean, people seem to gravitate to the media they want to hear, and not the media that they used to be fed is like 3 channels, ABC, NBC, and CBS. This is something that we talked about in the chat earlier this year. The splintering of truth is, we don't have any common ground of things that we could accept anymore. Everybody's grabbing for their own stream of reporting that sort of fits their ideology and stuff. So I'm saying, when you say the media, I see the right media working just as hard as the left on things. I'm just saying that I agree with what you're saying, Daniel, that there's a whole shitstorm of just propaganda coming down. But I see it as kind of equal opportunity streams from every kind of direction now, where the news is loaded with opinion and propaganda masquerading as.
When you see ABC, NBC, and CBS using the same talking points and stating them all verbatim, there is a problem.
Well, if you're not, first problem is if you're not coming here to TR's every week to get your daily dose of the real news, then right there you're already in strike 2.
Well, we already
You got your
discussed that also
financial
earlier.
advisor right there.
Checks in the mail, Rick.
and then you got the rest of us clowns telling you all the week's news.
But Google and YouTube are having a big meeting about fake news right now on how to get rid of this.
Talking about that at the beginning, and I just think they got their hands full, because then they get in a position of trying to judge what's real news, and it's a real sticky wicket at that point of vetting news sources. And once you're vetted and okay, then you can start your propaganda wheels going. It's a mess. It's a mess. Sometimes too much information is just as dangerous as too little sources of in my opinion. It's just wreaking havoc on people's minds in this country.
I got a good a little bit of a topic. I mean, it's what we're talking about already. I have a little bit of a conundrum.
Uh-oh.
Maybe let me get my dictionary. Hold on.
I don't have an answer to this question, but my question is, why does mainstream media want guns away from the American public? They want to do away with the Second Amendment, yet they cling on to the First Amendment so hard that they have the right to do anything in their mind as long as they say it, and they're the media, they're the First Amendment, what the First Amendment's all about, yet they turn around and they want to do away with the Second Amendment. Does anybody even have a I don't have an answer.
I got your answer.
Clue why they do that?
Guns kill people. That's the answer. They don't think people want to kill people. They think if you put a gun in your hand, that causes the killing. Okay, they don't care about knives or anything. It's all just do away with the guns and they'll be all happy. Nobody will be murdered. Nobody will be dead. There'll be no violence. It's a bullshit argument. That's the way they see things. The guns are the problem.
Everything, yeah, the gun is the problem. Unfortunately, I try not to get on Facebook hardly ever. But one of my good buddies, his daughter, she's like 24 now. She's very left roller. She typed something about gun stuff. So then I tried not to hit the send button. Like I was like, don't do it. And I hit that fucking button and the thing went stupid. And every one of her libtard friends was commenting. So I had to sit there and fucking, and they're basically blaming, it's like this screwdriver. It's a freaking tool, and I went into long depth and all this bullshit. And at the end of the day, you're not going to change their mind. I don't care.
My answer anyway. That's my answer, TR, and I'm sticking to it. They see the real simplistic thing of the gun is the problem. Remove the gun, and the world is a better place.
Yep. They want to get rid of every gun.
Yeah, they think developing better spring-loaded bats with trajectory things that can take somebody's head off and compound bows and arrows. Look, if you want to kill somebody, you're going to kill somebody. The gun is just a tool like anything else. So they have this simplistic. You can see it on a college level with undergraduates and stuff and surveys that. What do you think the solution to the gun problem in America is? Remove all the guns from America, problem solved. No, not really. I mean, you'll be really surprised when.
Hi, Blue.
Right, Blue, take care.
Later, Blue.
Hope you feel better.
I'm still under the weather, huh?
Yeah, I feel you. I've been there the past week, so I understand.
Hopefully, we're going on damn near 2 weeks now. So hopefully by this weekend it's cleared up. But it's just
I feel your pain, brother. It was a tough.
Seem like it. All right, guys, have a good one.
Yeah, take care. Hope you feel better. Stay safe.
Have a good one.
Yeah, it just I know it doesn't surprise me. It's just that when you see a group of people that cling to one amendment so hard and they think they're so righteous because they have the First Amendment, yet they're willing to shit on another amendment and just say, well, that one don't count anymore. It's like, what kind of freaking process is going through your mind? I know I posted a thing on Facebook the other day. I know it's just Facebook. It don't fucking matter, but it's like,
it's symptomatic of the whole thing that we've been talking about is it's pick and choose laws now. I mean, what do you think about the marijuana laws? We have conflicting federal laws with state laws in Colorado and Nevada and California, and people see this stuff. They're not stupid. They see this conflicting law, and they start to lose respect for the law because they don't see any. They just shake their head and say, what a bunch of bullshit that marijuana is illegal on a federal level, but we have all these states with dispensaries and all this developed infrastructure. People are just seeing that the rule of law is it's becoming Swiss cheese these days of pick and choose laws to obey. So I don't think guns any different.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know why I'm surprised. It just still kind of knowing a little bit of history and understanding how things, understanding the Constitution at least a little bit. It just kills me. Somebody would latch on to one amendment and then tell me, well, no, fuck that amendment. We don't need that anymore. It's like, well, you got your First Amendment and you say that, well, the forefathers didn't understand that these weapons would be developed later on. Okay, well, now you have no First Amendment right on air, television, the internet, unless you write a damn paper with a quill, a fucking feather, and ink and send it by a fucking horseman. You don't have a fucking First Amendment right. That's the same fucking argument against AR-15 is that, okay, if you want to use that same fucking argument that the forefathers wouldn't know the technology that's coming about, that means you don't have the First Amendment right to broadcast news on air. because they did not have that then. So unless you write letters or a newspaper and have it delivered by a fucking pony, you don't have the First Amendment right. That's the same fucking argument that I can't have AR-15.
That's why I said it's a cafeteria style Bill of Rights. You choose what you want off the menu and you leave the rest, right? That's what it is, cafeteria style. Same with our laws. Pick the ones you want to obey and fuck the other ones.
Yeah. Yeah, same thing with religion. People do the same thing with the Bible.
Yeah, of course. It's human nature to take the best and leave the rest. I'm in compliance about 77%, but it's cool. I'm on the right side.
I'm looking for a C here.
There you go. Just give me my C+. I'm on my way, Professor. Thank you.
Be right back.
Yeah, it's frustrating because we're just seeing the breakdown of respect for law because of these tearing down these rights.
Yeah. Well, it's just like the whole 21 years old to buy a gun. Okay, well, does that mean you can only have the Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, 10th Amendment, First Amendment until you're 21? I mean, you can't pick and choose and say, well, you have to be this age to have this right out of the Bill of Rights. You can be 18 and have this. Just like these damn high school kids, and they're saying, oh, it's their First Amendment right. No, the fuck it ain't.
Yeah, well, let's start attacking whatever, the 24th Amendment for the right to drink again. Let's start attacking that. It's crazy stuff. I mean, it's people get frustrated because they can't make headway, so they start to just,
And people, and I say this in the truest sense of the word, people are ignorant of what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what implications they are spouting off that they think is fact or facts, and they're just going off emotion. You should never base your opinion on law. I know it's hard to do, but it shouldn't be on opinion. It should be on facts, stats, what is the good of the people, not what makes you feel good.
Right. Well, TR, I'm going to jump out. I got an early morning in San Francisco again tomorrow, but I want to thank you for having me on, and thank you, everybody, Daniel and Rick, for another great chat. Thank you, Side Chat, everybody, real early morning tomorrow. So thank you very much.
Well, glad to have you back, Rosie. Good to see you again. Later.
Well, TR, I got something here I researched today that covers up just about everything you said.
What's that? Go ahead.
You want to hear it?
Go. Well, you got a manifesto?
This is the opening introduction to the Encyclopedia Britannica when it was first printed. Mortimer Adler, he was the lead on it, on getting together and putting it there. And here's the introduction and why. We believe that the reduction of the citizen to an object of propaganda is one of the great dangers to our freedom. Great notion, a great assumption is that people can't think for themselves. They can't think logically and reach conclusions, but people can be misled. The reiteration of slogans, the distortion of the news, the great storm of propaganda that beats on the citizen 24 hours a day all his life means that either America will fall to the greatest and most persistent propagandist, or that we have people must strengthen themselves by thinking logically, learning, strengthening their minds, and evaluating issues and finding the truth for themselves. And now tie that in with July 2nd, 2013, when our government has now allowed that the government can propagandize the United States citizen. And look at what we have in the media. And all these things, that gun control, our schools, the taking God out of the schools, the morals out of schools. All this together is leading us right down here. This man was an atheist when he wrote and got put together the Encyclopedia Britannica. When he died, he converted. He was a Christian when he died. But he used critical thinking. Look at everything around us, what's going on in our country, in our homes. And the media and the government are in bed together. You can call them Democrats, you can call them Republicans. Republicans are just liberal lights. They're all heading in the same direction.
Yeah, education. I've said it to many people. I know me and Sonia's had conversations. I've had conversations with other people. You know, they're like, well, which side's right? And I'm like, probably neither. Look at both sides. Make up your own freaking mind. Look at all the facts and figures. Look at what's going on. Look at what's happening. I don't care what the subject is. Look at both sides. Make up your own mind. Don't let other people make up your mind for you. Right or wrong, indifferent, whatever. Make up your own freaking mind. If you just follow along with the crowd, you'll probably always be freaking wrong.
Yes, it's emotion. People go off emotion, and it's easy to control the herd over emotion.
All rules are made lately. All laws are made by emotion. Look at the age 21 bullshit. That ain't going to change anything.
Well, there again, like I said, you shouldn't make law on emotion.
I know.
Should be on facts, figures, stats. What is best for the country? We live in a republic. We don't live in a fucking democracy. And I keep seeing that over and over, and I know you guys do too. They're like, oh, we're a democracy. We don't live in a freaking democracy. We live in a republic. A republic means we protect the one person that can't speak for themselves, or they don't have enough power, or the enough people behind them looking out for them. As a republic, we're going to look out for the little guy. We're going to look out for the oddball person. A democracy is mob rule. Mob rule, you will lose every fucking time. That's why we don't have that. We have a republic.
Yep.
I know people don't get it. And I don't even know how to explain it. And I'm speaking to the choir here anyway, so
It's going to all fall apart.
Maybe you got to sing it to them, TR, to like really get it in their brain.
shit. I don't want to run off what few people we got watching.
You ready? I'll do the music and you sing.
Hell no.
No,
I know I've told the story before. I got hit on one of my videos for a copyright infringement, and I was just talking. They got me because I guess I talked so country, it sounded like a country song with copyright infringement.
Oh.
I was on my stump just talking to the camera and got a copyright infringement. It's like, what the fuck?
That was Elroy. Elroy, he said, his mohawk looks as good as mine. Ain't happening. Nope.
Oh, did you see their comment that guy left on your video, TR, about your mohawk?
Yeah, TR's mohawk's looking good today. Hey, one Tuesday, you got to gel that shit up so it's like straight, like punk rock days in high school. Like, I want to see.
They was talking about me dyeing it. I might have to get one of those, those temporary dyes and make it blue this weekend or something.
You come over, we'll spray paint that son bitch.
Well, this guy was trolling on you on one of your videos. I replied to him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah, I said something about, you know what? He's 50 years old, got a full head of hair. I can't say nothing because I'm bald. If I had it, I'd rock it.
Yeah, I replied to him eventually. I was like, I'm 50 years old and I can have a mohawk, therefore I do.
Exactly.
Yeah, you'll show the note from your mom that gives you permission.
That's right.
Yeah, the girl did really good. She used a shaver, looked like one of those ones like you shave your beard. She fucking got that damn thing close. tight.
Should have got out the blade.
They
Like-
can't do a blade.
Like Daniel does.
Hairstylist. You gotta go to a barber before they can shave your head. In South Carolina, anyway.
Oh, so you don't go where they have
All
the
of
stripes
rule.
on the cover. You go where they got the little flowers on the bib that go over you.
Yeah, I went to Great Clips. That's where I normally go.
That's where the pretty ladies are, Daniel. You go to a barber, you end up with a guy going.
You better
Sit in
hope
the chair.
Sonia's not listening.
She don't care.
If Sonia's listening, she gonna see you ain't getting your hair cut there no more.
All right. Anything else important going on? Otherwise, we might as well just end this and call it a night.
Oh, that's not really. YouTube sucks. Other than that,
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good idea for your. I mean, okay, on the right side of your head, put the number 3. On the left side of your head, put the number 8. Just out.
Now they drove Chevrolets. I'm a Ford guy. I hadn't even watched NASCAR in the last couple of years. I've gotten out of sports altogether. That was the last sport I watched was NASCAR, and I hadn't even done that in the last few years.
we got to meet up. That'd be fun.
We need to get a few of us and go down to Rob's now that it's starting to warm up.
Yeah.
We'll do a mini Farmageddon.
Do a fuck again.
There you go.
You see what Greg wrote in there? Doesn't Greg Campbell know that I was in the Navy for 20 years? That's a silly question. I cut my own hair. Thank you very much.
He has a goat lick it till it falls out.
I cut my own hair until I started having a mohawk, and I could do this, but once it gets back here, oh, that would be all screwed up. It probably look like a question mark.
That could be kind of cool too. Or you could
All
have
right, guys, let's go ahead and end this. Screw it. Went an hour and a half. We started on time, close enough. We already had a few people bail on us.
You guys didn't get your money's worth. I'm sorry.
Yeah. We're down to 48, so it is tapering off.
If you guys put $10 in that super chat for old TR, we'll continue.
Damn, it is a super chat down there. Hell, I don't even think I've done that. I guess
Google
I do it automatically.
Don't do it. Google gets 30%.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm just kidding.
I do this for free. I'm a slut.
All right. Well, that means throw 30 in there.
All right, everybody. We're going to call it a night. And just for shits and grins, yes, I have a Glock, another Glock 21, 45. I think that whenever I finally get together with Rick to do his competition, I'm going to try this. So I don't know if it makes a difference. I should be in the major power factor.
It won't matter. Yeah. You're
Yeah, I'll probably miss every fucking thing anyway.
You still have fun.
You'll still be trying to load it like a wheel gun.
Don't forget, Bald and Curious on Friday has this 3-gun chat. This Friday, I believe. He can say no if it's not, but I'm pretty sure he does. I think it starts at 9 Eastern. So get on over there and check that out. Make sure you unsubscribe to him. Hate that guy. No, I'm just kidding. So there will be that chat on Friday night.
Yeah, check it out. Let y'all guys do an outro. Daniel?
I'm changing my channel over to Gus's Emotional Goat Therapy channel. It's going to be 24 hours a day of little Gus videos, and sometimes during the day live.
We'll see how that goes. Rick, would you like to do an outro? Anything coming up on your channel?
Yeah, well, he's trying to outdo you with the goat compared to the rooster, but it's never going to happen. But I'm actually thinking about doing a chat where it's basically like us, Pop's Quest, Bald and Curious if he wants or whatever, but we're playing poker while we're bullshitting and we're stealing fake money back and forth. I think it'd be a good time. Basically, they don't need to see our ugly mugs. They can see us trying to win and beat each other at poker, and we're still talking about the same stuff. Tell me what you guys. Oh, Bald and Curious says 8 Eastern, but tell me what you guys think about that. But that's about it.
Are you gonna use like Poker Stars or something website?
Yeah, you'll be online.
Yeah,
you'll be online, and we'll just live stream it and bullshit and have fun just like we are right now, but we're playing poker and trying to take each guy's money.
I know they used to, I guess they still do it. I know you could do like little private games.
Yeah, that's what it'd be.
Yeah. Let me in on that.
All right. Yeah, I played a little bit of poker tonight. I'm trying to learn which one's the best one.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried like 3 of them tonight. One I did live, and I had fun trying. I won 20 grand. I started with 5 and won 20 grand. So, but it's fun. I mean, you get all these guys in here. We're all talking, having fun, and there's like 10 seats. So it's basically the same. We have to make it where you can't see my cards or whoever's running the chat.
Yeah.
Because you'll be like, oh, look at that screen. Oh, yeah, he's got a pocket aces. Okay, fuck that. I fold.
Yeah, the ones I've seen, you only see your own cards, so I don't know how that would work. But anyway, yeah.
But it'd be fun. And we could get real crazy, and for every 10 chips is, a bullet of some sort, and we just fucking start shipping. Oh, man, Rob won good that night, and I got to go ship his ass, 100 rounds of 9mm or something.
I'm in.
That'd be fun.
I need more bullets.
It'd be fun even if it was just bullshitting around playing poker. And so you got the commentary and a poker game going on at the same time. I think that in itself would be good enough. I
think I'm going to do it. I'm going to call it. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but I think I think could be a really good time.
So you're going to send me 100 bullets every time I beat you.
Yep.
All right. Enough of this. We're going to call it a night. Thanks, everybody, for coming by. It's good to see Rosie back finally. She's been on a whirlwind American tour. Rick, Daniel, Blue. I know he's already gone. But anyway, thanks for coming on. And like I said, I'm trying to concentrate on Tuesday night chat. If we ended a little early, so be it. I'd rather have good quality content over quantity. Trying to do 2 chats, so I prefer the one night a week. I think we can have some good chats. So anyway, with that, later everybody.
See ya.
Dirt Road, I will email you, no problem. Later everybody.
Why don't you just email him the questions?
Well, he was asking me about some reloading shit.
Oh, gotcha.
All right, bye.